Okay, when it comes to Hojo, there's some important considerations that we have to bear in mind. One of the criticisms that I used to encounter, certainly when I was cross-training with friends who were involved in Chinese art, specifically Five Ancestors, White Crane or Southern Mantis, was that the Hojo apparatus developed somewhat of a dead power. And this is even within arts that utilize Hojo, such as the Southern Mantis. But what I would say is it's never a good substitution for a good training partner, which is, kind of common sense. I think instinctively we know that also. That said, the Hojo, especially for those of us who do the majority of our training alone, can be of a benefit to us, just as long as we're using the right intention. Now, if we look at the Chi-Chi, for example, when we do basic Chi-Chi exercises, so say, for example, where we're taking it up and over and then locking it down here, we have to bear in mind direction of force. So if I'm holding my Chi-Chi outwards like this, the direction of resistance or the direction of force is going downwards, right? So in response to that, my direction of resistance to that is upwards. So if we're talking about the Chi-Chi benefiting our punching, well, there's a little bit of a conflict right there. Because when we're punching, we want all our power to be going outwards. We want all our power forward into the target so that that force is dispersed either that way or downwards so that we're hitting and that power is, or that energy, that shock is staying inside the target somewhat. We're never punching with this kind of intention, right? So when we look at our use of Hojo, we need to make sure that we are utilizing these tools in such a way that there is a correlation and a carryover to the attribute we're trying to create. So again, to return to our punch, when we're punching, now we talk about chinkuchi, we talk about kime, or whatever, chulun or chan-chan, all these different expressions that talk about this ability to lock the body. Now, if we talk about kime in terms of Japanese martial arts or kind of what's popular in karate, this lock, this hold, not very relevant to what we want. This is equivalent to locking the body, again, picking up that saucepan and putting it somewhere else. The whole body is rigid and therefore it's easily moved. What we want is specific joints to lock upon point of contact and then immediately relax off so that our punch becomes here, but there's no back into us, right? If I hold my whole body tight there, that forces back into my joint. That actually hurt my shoulder a little bit. So what I want is dispersal of force. Dispersal of force, so that it's like trying to shake water off my hands. You imagine I've got water all the way along my limbs. I want that water off of my body. Here. When we return to talking about our sanchin, we have that concept of hake, this splitting of energy. If my energy is all one direction, if I just sink and lock, everything's one direction. By sinking into that shot, again, there's somewhat of a conflict. Like we spoke about earlier with the Chi-Chi, by holding that Chi-Chi outwards, my force is that way. Likewise, if I just think about sinking, my force is downwards. I don't want it downwards, I want it forwards. I want it forwards. Here. So that as I shoot the shot, my lower body goes down, my weight drops, but my upper body, from the torso upwards, there's a split. There is a ha, 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 just like our Junbi Undo. So again, when we return to our Chi-Chi, when we do this basic exercise, if I'm here, up and over, that force is coming down. What I want is that force forward. This slight change of emphasis, even though the exercise might look kind of the same thing, the change is that my direction of force is outwards, This is my sanchin, this is my chudenoke. This is my chudenoke. It comes back, and then my intention is forwards, here, rather than up and over. You see the difference? First way, up and over. The direction is downwards. My line of resistance is upwards. No good for punching. If I take it here, 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 here. Now my direction is that way. I still have to put the brakes on. Yeah, I'm resisting upwards a little bit, but more, it's a feeling of catching at the end of that exercise. So if you play around with this chishi, if I take it from a side angle here, option number one, I'll come up, down, down. Yeah, it teaches me to link in the serratus muscle, the so-called puncher's muscle, to lock in the shoulder. It gives a good feeling for that, but the direction is still not what we want for punching. If I add a little bit of momentum, take it forward, take it forward, take it forward, it significantly makes the exercise more difficult. But what it does, it takes that line of force forward. Now, if you look at the Southern Mantis grinding arms, the Five Ancestors grinding arms, the Chai Sao, this is what it's trying to give you. Kakie, again, takes this bridge, this up and over, yeah? It has relevance. It has relevance for uprooting, it has relevance for crashing down and sinking, okay? We can argue the Chishi, in the first exercise we showed, coming down, has more relevance to what we would be trying to do in Kakie, rather than punching. So again, it depends upon our intention of what we're trying to achieve with the exercise. Hojo Ondo in and of itself is not a bad thing. It's not wrong, it's not negative. It all depends upon the intention we're placing in the exercises and what we are training, because sometimes what we think we are training is not actually what we're training. Okay, so have a little play around with that in terms of your basic Chishi exercise. Try it both ways. Try the up and over, locking on. Yeah, we can develop a good feeling for locking in that sanchin, locking in these positions, okay? Static, we can develop that very well here. But then when it comes to dynamic, when it comes to linking it to our punch, which is what they tell us is for, we have to modify that direction a little bit, change our point of intention, and make that a more throwing action coming forwards, and then getting that ability to put the brakes on at the end to transfer that into our punching, so that our strike has forward momentum and energy dispersal rather than containment. We don't want to contain our energy, we don't want to choke our power.